A 14-year-old kid suddenly becomes the ruler of the most powerful empire on Earth. No experience, no restraint, just limitless wealth, armies, and the ability to make anyone obey him. Sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? Well, it was. His name was Elagabalus, and he makes every other crazy emperor you heard about look like an amateur. Forget Nero. Forget Caligula. Elagabalus was a teenage emperor who turned Rome into a bizarre carnival of sex, violence, and absurdity. He appointed men to powerful positions based on the size of their genitals. He chained women to chariots like horses and whipped them as they pulled him around. He prostituted himself in taverns and brothels while wearing women's clothing. And that's just the warm-up. Now, let me ask you this. If you were 14 and suddenly in charge of the world, how long before you'd completely lose it? A week? A month? Elagabalus lasted 4 years before even his grandmother wanted him dead. So, who was this boy emperor? How did he rise so fast? And why did his reign spiral into madness? Let's rewind the clock and set the stage. Quick backdrop of Rome in the early 200s CE. Empire powerful but unstable. Leadership constantly shifting. His family, the Severan dynasty, pulling strings in the background. His grandmother, Julia Maesa, powerful, ambitious, and determined to place her grandson on the throne. Now, in most families, grandma's biggest ambition is teaching you how to knit. In this family, it was helping you conquer the Roman Empire. So, Elagabalus takes power at 14, and immediately, Rome learns what happens when you hand the empire to a spoiled teenager with no rules. Here's the highlight reel of his insanity. Power and lust mixed. Appointed men to powerful positions based on the size of their genitals. Turned politics into a sexual contest. Imagine if job interviews today worked that way. LinkedIn would look very different. Humiliation and public spectacle. Chained noble women to chariots, whipped them like animals, hosted bizarre feasts, only groups of 8, short men, bald men, fat men, like twisted party themes. It's like a Roman version of a themed dinner party, just way more insulting. Living as a woman. Prostituted himself in taverns and brothels, dressed in women's clothing. Asked doctors if they could surgically give him female genitals, recorded by historians. Imagine being the surgeon in that consultation. So, you want me to do what exactly? Violence as entertainment. Released poisonous snakes into gladiator arenas, watched crowds panic and die. Tossed gold coins from towers just to see poor people fight over them. Religious chaos obsessively worshipped the Syrian sun god Elagabal, from which his nickname came. Forced Roman senators to watch his bizarre rituals. Even married a Vestal Virgin, an act considered outrageous and sacrilegious in Rome. In Roman religion, that wasn't just scandalous, it was terrifying. People believed it would anger the gods and curse the entire empire. So you've got a teenage emperor turning politics into a circus, religion into a sideshow, and public life into a nightmare. But here's the real twist. His biggest enemy wasn't the Senate. It wasn't the army. It was his own family. By 218 CE, the empire had had enough. But the person who finally gave the order wasn't even a senator or a general. It was his grandmother, Julia Maesa. The same woman who had helped him take the throne decided he had gone too far. At just 18 years old, Elagabalus was captured, stripped of power, and beheaded. His body was dragged through the streets before being dumped into the Tiber River. Grandma had officially hit the nuclear button. You know you've crossed the line when even your grandma is like, yeah, take his head off. So what do we take away from the story of Elagabalus? Power in the wrong hands, especially young, reckless hands, can turn an empire upside down. His reign was short, shocking, and unforgettable. Yet somehow he's often left out of the conversation about Rome's most infamous rulers. Maybe because his story is so bizarre, people thought it couldn't possibly be true. But hey, History is stranger than fiction, and if you thought this story was wild, wait until you hear about some of the others we've got lined up. So, if you're into crazy emperors, weird history, and the kind of stories that make you say, "Wait, that really happened?" make sure to hit that subscribe button. Because, trust me, we're just getting started.